皆さんこんにちは。プレイス東京でネストプログラムコーディネーターをしております加藤力也と申します。はい、私はHIV 陽性者なんですが、感染が分かって間もなく22年経ちます。で、今日はその私がインタビュアーとなりまして、これからちょっとインタビューをお届けしたいなと思います。そして今日の特別ゲストですね。はい、プラスライフメディアエグゼクティブプロデューサーのカール・シュミッドさんです。はい、よろしくお願いします。はい。
Thank you.
はい。感染について、いつ頃どのようにお知りになったのか伺いたいんですが。
So I learned of my HIV positive status in 2007. I was newly 27 years old. So now I'm 43. You do the math. It's been a while. I was living in London at the time, and I was having regular sexual health checkups as a young gay man. Every 6 months, go to the clinic to, make sure everything is okay. And so one day, I went for my HIV test, and they did a rapid test on my finger. It came back positive. And I remember the feelings inside and my first thoughts in my mind. It was like a countdown clock ticking backwards. I could see time going backwards. That was my first thought. My second thought was, how could I do this to my parents? I felt such shame and disappointment that I'd somehow let them down, which is a horrible way to feel.
はい、HIV 陽性だとカミングアウトしようと思ったのはなぜですか？
I lived with HIV for 10 years before I spoke publicly about it. My family knew, my parents knew, my close friends knew, but in my professional life, nobody knew because I work on television, and people had said to me, well-meaning people had said to me, don't talk about your HIV status. You don't want to be known as the person with AIDS on TV. So I kept it a secret, and by doing that, I had a lot of internal stigma. So not just stigma from outside world, but in my mind, something shameful, a dirty secret. For 10 years, I kept the secret. Then one day, after work, I went to the bar and was having some drinks with my friends. And I was wearing a t-shirt from an Instagram account called the AIDS Memorial. And their whole message is, what is remembered lives. And you can post stories on Instagram, pictures of people who have passed away. I didn't have a story of a family relative or a friend. I only had my story. So after a few drinks at the bar, I was feeling a little lightheaded, and I posted my picture wearing this t-shirt on their account and just told my story. I didn't really think about it. And then the next day, it blew up and went viral around the world.
周りに伝えたときに、周囲からの反応、そのことに対する反応というのはどういうものが多かったですか？
I was very surprised. It was supportive. When I realized the next day what I had done, I first was scared I would lose my job. Luckily, my job was very supportive, and from all around the world, people started messaging me, and that has continued until today. So many people, even here in Japan, will send me private messages on my social media saying, thank you very much for speaking your truth. Thank you very much for showing that if you are HIV positive, it is not the end of the world, that you can thrive, you can love, you can live. And so from that day, I think maybe 6 years ago, I have made it my mission to be very open about my HIV status, to talk about U equals U, and to help people realize that there is no shame in living with HIV. There is no shame to going and getting tested for HIV. There is no shame for loving somebody with HIV.
早速その U イコールズ U のね、メッセージつけていますが、この U イコールズ U のメッセージに触れたとき、そしてブルース・リッチマンとの出会いについてお話しいただけますか。
Days after I did my social media post, Bruce Richmond and Prevention Access sent me a DM message on Twitter. And he said, "Hello, Karl. Thank you for speaking out. Do you know about U equals U?" I had no idea. So at that point, I had been living with HIV for 10 years. No one, ever, no doctor, anybody had told me about U equals U. So we connected and we spoke. And I said, this changes everything in my life. If you are undetectable, you are untransmittable. Zero risk. I cannot pass HIV on to a sexual partner. My mind was blown. Then I was invited to go to AIDS conference in Amsterdam and work with Bruce. And again, from that day, I make it my mission to talk about U equals U because it is so simple. Very simple message. Here is the thing. U equals U is only good if you can be undetectable. It only works if everybody gets to undetectable. And I know here in Japan, when you are diagnosed with HIV, you don't start medicine right away. They wait until your CD4 count is low to a point, then they give you the medicine. This has now been shown around the world to be a very ineffective way to treat HIV. You are essentially waiting for somebody to get sick before you help them. The importance of starting treatment right away means that you can be undetectable in a matter of weeks. That means you cannot transmit the virus. You are stopping the spread. And it is very important that the Japanese government hears that and understands that. It will save a lot of money caring for people if they get people on treatment right away. You will stop the spread of HIV. You will stop people being so sick they need additional care. This saves money. It is what we call a win-win. So I urge people here in Japan, in the community, to speak with their elected officials, to remind them of this.
プラスライフメディアの活動についてご紹介をしていただきたいと思いますが。
Hi. Plus Life Media was born from the reaction of my sharing my status. Like I said, so many people sent messages, and I thought, what if we had somewhere online where people could go and see and hear stories that they can relate to? Whether it's a black lady in the South, whether it's someone here in Japan, people in India, all walks of life. It's a platform where our mission is to stop HIV stigma, to talk about HIV in a way that everybody can understand and relate to. We want people to see and hear people like them on the platform. So I host a weekly show. I interview, like you are interviewing me, called Plus Talk. And every week we have a different guest, different topic. It can be a doctor, sometimes talking about PrEP. Sometimes it is a person that might be talking about their experience and how they learned to fall in love again. We talk about everything: sex, drugs, medicine, lifestyle. Every week it's different. And that's because we want people to relate and see and celebrate people living with HIV. Because of U equals U, because of the medicine, we live fantastic lives. Lives like everybody else. We can have sex. We don't have to use condoms if we don't want to. We can make babies. We can breastfeed. We will find out officially soon. There is nothing that can stop us. And that is why we created Plus Life, so people can see that and share those stories.
この動画は多分日本の多くの陽性者の方もご覧になっていると思うんですが、そうした日本に住むHIV 陽性者にメッセージをお願いできますか。
はい。I would say that just because you are living with HIV doesn't mean life stops. I realize it might seem scary. You might feel alone. You might think nobody will ever want me again. It's not true. It's not true. We have all these old ideas from the past, stigma that lingers. It's a waste of time. U equals U. Undetectable equals untransmittable. You can live the best life you want to live. Nothing should stop you. Be brave. Be honest. Because the more we talk about it, the more we talk about HIV and share ideas, the less scary it becomes. The less we should be afraid of it. People used to be scared to talk about cancer. And they would say, oh, shh, cancer. Now we say cancer. Everyone talks about cancer. It's not a problem. HIV is the same thing. One pill once a day. One injection maybe in the butt every few months. That's all. I mean, I take it with my coffee and my orange juice. That's it. That's the only time I have to think about my HIV. And that's the only time you'll have to think about yours. Don't let it stop you. Don't let it hold you back. Can I also add, this might sound strange, but in many ways, HIV has saved my life. It has made my life better. Knowing what I know, knowing U equals U, I am now living the best version of myself. I now live in my truth. No more secrets. No more shame. So I can celebrate life. And for me, that is a game, the life-changing. Life-changing. I have learned to love myself again. And people need to understand that they too can feel this way.
はい、熱いメッセージどうもありがとうございます。
Thank you for your passionate message.
こちら、
プ
レゼント for you。
すごいはは
はい。
はい、かわいいです。
かわいいです。かわいいです。
どうもありがとうございます。
Welcome.
Thank you very much for inviting me to be here and to share my story. I hope that if people watching see and hear what we are talking about, they will feel encouraged too. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much to you. はい、本日はカール・シュミッドさんをお招きしましていろいろ、お伺いをいたしました。 はい、日本のHIV 陽性者の方にも大変熱いメッセージをいただきました。はい、国は違えど同じ陽性者として、一緒にこの社会で生きているんだということを実感できるインタビューだったかと思います。はい、シュミッドさんありがとうございました。
ありがとうございます。Thank you.